Hello? Here in Arizona, the Santa Catalina Mountains are a hunter's dream, but for me, they're a battlefield. I'm John, and this is my story of leading a team to take down 101 wild hogs in a hunt you won't believe. My family's farmed this land in Arizona for 3 generations. It's our legacy. But these wild hogs have turned it into a nightmare. Last year I lost 30% of my crop. Fences smashed, irrigation systems ruined, and a year's hard work gone. I told myself I never wanted to pick up a rifle, but when your family's future is slipping away, you do what it takes. I couldn't do this alone. I called in 3 of the best people in our Arizona community. A farmer who had lost his crops like me, a local guide who knew these mountains well, and a veteran hunter with a personal vendetta against feral hogs. Our hunting dogs were our secret weapon. We upgraded everything from high-powered rifles to infrared scopes to even a custom buggy to take on this invasive species. On the first day, we were high in the Santa Catalina wilderness of Arizona. After a 30-minute wait, we saw a herd of wild hogs charging downhill. My heart was pounding, but I held my rifle steady. The sound of gunfire mingled with the squeals of the hogs. 4 bullets fell in a matter of seconds. A wild hog hunt is tense, and if you miss, the hogs can charge at any moment. A wild hog darted away, darting behind a bush. I quickly aimed a shot from 1,200 feet away and it fell. To have a successful hunt, I also pay special attention to safety while hunting. To protect myself, I wear protective gear such as bite-resistant boots, reinforced gloves, and a tactical vest to protect against wild boar attacks. The harsh conditions require skill and quick thinking to ensure safety and success. With dozens of wild hogs down, we moved on to hunt on the flatter terrain of Arizona. Some say it's barbaric even when the animals are tearing through farmland and wrecking ecosystems. Critics call large-scale hog hunts like ours inhumane, but ask any farmer who's watched $20,000 0 cents vanish in one season. This isn't sport, it's survival. Feral hogs don't just root up fields, they bulldoze livelihoods. Hunters argue they're doing what has to be done. It's a brutal choice, but sometimes protecting your land means facing hard truths.
Good shot, good shot.
Where do you stand? Has a wild hog ever wrecked your property or hurt someone you love? Drop a 1 if you know the pain. As the sun sets over Arizona's Santa Catalina Mountains, my fight against feral hogs is won, but the fight for our land and our heritage never ends. Stay tuned for more stories about feral hog hunting and how hunting communities elsewhere operate. Dozens of wild hogs swarmed out like a living flood, tearing up cornfields, digging up dirt and trampling steel fences in minutes. For East Texas farmer Thomas Caldwell, each night was a test of survival. I lost over $12,000, 0 cents, in a week of corn, fertilizer and irrigation, he said. They were fearless. They learned faster than we could trap them. Their reproductive rate made any control efforts hopeless. A sow could have 2 litters of 12 piglets a year. Within months, a pair had grown to hundreds of pigs spread across the landscape. They were smart, avoiding lights, knowing the scent of humans, and attacking only when the wind changed direction. So, how to combat this ravaging feral hog population? That's where the Texans got creative. In Fayette County, their fields had been attacked for 3 nights in a row. So steel panels stood upright in the darkness, forming a 30-foot wide circular trap. A patch of fermented corn lured the hogs straight in. Motion sensor cameras streamed live images to residents' phones. Everything was ready. Midnight. Movement on the screen. First one, then 5. Then a whole herd. Boars fighting over prey. A tap on the phone and the gate slams shut with a loud metallic clang. The initial capture had been successful, but there were still thousands out there. The brutal truth about wire traps that farmers rarely talk about is that wild pigs are not robots. They are wild and intelligent creatures. After a few failed attempts, the herd will change trails to avoid the scent of the bait. Traps placed in the wrong funnel or poorly maintained will attract scavengers, disrupting the micro-ecosystem and spoiling the bait. Improper carcass disposal can also spread disease to livestock and hunting dogs. The investment cost of several $1,000s is just the beginning. Without constant monitoring, community coordination and biosecurity procedures, the traps will not only be ineffective, but will also cause the pigs to disperse further. So people need to comply with the correct implementation of wire traps. When traps are not effective enough or the herd is too wary, switch to planned night hunting, and the prime time is dusk to pre-dawn when the pigs are most active. Night hunting must have a team of 2 to 4 people, a primary shooter, a secondary shooter and thermal equipment for detection, avoiding bright lights that scare the herd. Absolutely do not shoot at houses or public roads. Notify neighbours at least 24 hours in advance and record the location of the activity. Have you asked landowner permission and checked local regulations before setting up traps or night hunt? Before you do anything, remember that on private land in Texas, feral hog control is allowed year-round, but must be done with landowner permission, following Texas Parks and Wildlife guidelines, notifying neighbours when hunting at night. Proper carcass disposal and reporting suspected disease require a specialised permit and must be done by a licensed team, meaning all tactics must be legal, safe and coordinated with the proper authorities before starting. In actual performance, small team rifle hunts typically take 1 to 6 animals per run, with large variations depending on pack density, team skill and field conditions. Do you find this to be true, or is it due to poor hunting technique on the part of the hunter? Wild boars have been and are one of the most serious threats to agriculture in the American South. Texas to Alabama to Georgia, they not only destroy crops, but also cause great damage to rural areas, with strong impacts on the environment. According to studies from the United States Department of Agriculture, the number of wild boars in the United States has now reached more than 6 million, and each year they cause billions of dollars in damage to agriculture. One of the main reasons why wild boars have become such a threat is their reproductive capacity. Each female hog can give birth to 12 to 20 piglets per year. Therefore, controlling their numbers has become an urgent task. To stop this disaster, hunters in the south have no choice but to pick up their Remington 700S, AR-15S and fight a relentless war. But can they win when this enemy is not only devastating but also growing stronger by the day? This is a battle that requires the determination and unity of the hunters, where the survival of both farmers and the land depends on every bullet. These wild boars are a nightmare that never stops. When the battle against wild boars begins, it is not as simple as taking a shot with a gun. Hunters must coordinate closely, applying encirclement tactics to deny the wild boars any chance of escape. Each group of hunters takes on a clear mission, with one group sneaking into potential areas, putting pressure on the wild boar herd, while the other prepares for the decisive shots. All it takes is one mistake for the wild boars to escape, and then the devastation continues. This is especially true on hunts. In the south, where the heat can be exhausting with temperatures reaching 104 DGF. The terrain is also not easy, as dense forests, swamps and muddy grasslands can make every move a nightmare. Hunters are forced to stay alert throughout the day, sometimes for 12 hours straight in the intense heat.
At!
In fact, proper training and good physical fitness are vital, as no one can win without knowing how to shoot in such harsh weather and terrain conditions. After hours of stalking and hunting, the team of hunters finally brought down 50 wild boars. This was a great success, but the number was only a small fraction of the wild boar invasion in the area. Although the hunt had produced some encouraging results, the problem of wild boars was not completely solved. Additionally, in controlling wild boars in areas such as Florida and Texas, authorities have deployed the net trap method. The net traps typically range in size from 10x 10 feet to 30x 30 feet, allowing for the capture of multiple wild boars at once. These traps are made from steel wire or strong plastic wire that can withstand the powerful tearing force of wild boars. However, the use of net traps is not free and requires special permits from local wildlife management agencies. Most areas require hunters or farmers to complete training in the use of traps and wildlife management to ensure safety. Net traps should be placed in strategic areas such as near water sources or in dense forests where wild boars frequently feed. Some tactics also use 2 net traps in a row, which prevent wild boars from escaping once captured. These traps can hold between 5 and 30 hogs at a time, depending on the size and number of wild boars. This helps minimise the damage caused by wild boars without directly harming them. However, net traps are not the only solution. For long-term effectiveness, other measures such as hunting and population control must be combined to ensure that wild boars do not have the opportunity to thrive again. In Kenya, the first wave of chaos began. Thousands of baboons sweep through farmlands, ripping roofs, shattering windows, and stealing stored food in broad daylight. Within minutes, a single raid can wipe out up to 87% of a farmer's harvest, leaving families on the edge of collapse. During droughts, desperation grows. Baboons break into homes, overturn trash bins, and cause hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage every year. For farmers, survival now depends on precision and discipline. Many turn to bow hunting, not for sport, but for protection. It's a method that requires silence, skill, and deep understanding of animal behaviour. Baboons are no easy prey, their vision is sharp, their teamwork impeccable. Each troop moves with scouts, guards, and attackers, all guided by instinct and intelligence. Hunters must track them for days, watching, listening, memorising every route from cliffside dens to maize fields. Even a single shift of wind can betray a hunter's position. Success lies in patience, waiting under trees, blending into shadows, drawing the bow only when a clean, humane shot is guaranteed. To increase their chances of success, hunters sometimes use bait tactics, placing fruit or corn for several days to lure baboons back. Some choose higher terrain, quietly perching on tree branches where movement cannot be seen. But the battle in Africa doesn't end there. To restore safety, the South African government introduced controlled hunting programs, licensing professional hunters, such as Peter Asis, a veteran tracker with decades of field experience. Peter's team uses high-caliber rifles like the .375 H&H Magnum, .450 Webash Winchester Magnum, equipped with Loophole VX3 or Trijicon ACOG scopes. These hunts are carried out under strict supervision, involving 4 to 5 members hunters, trackers and licensed clients. Permits cost between $5,000 0 cents and $20,000 0 cents, with a portion of that money reinvested into community development and wildlife conservation. For local trackers, this isn't just work, it's heritage. Despite controversy, controlled hunting remains one of the most effective methods for maintaining ecological balance. The funds support schools, create rural jobs, and protect remaining habitats. Yet the question lingers, are we truly conserving nature or simply managing our guilt? Critics warn that targeting dominant males could weaken lion genetics, risking lower fertility and resilience across future generations. In the suburbs, local wildlife officers are now facing a new kind of challenge: urban trapping. No guns, no violence, just precision, patience, and respect. They deploy large steel cage traps designed for strength. These traps are not meant to harm, but to provide safe confinement, allowing officers to capture and relocate animals without causing injury. Each morning, officers inspect the traps placed near garbage sites and abandoned lots, where baboons most often appear. When a trap is triggered, the animal is never left long inside. Teams respond quickly, covering the cage with canvas to calm the primate before transporting it to the nearest wildlife station. There, veterinarians check for stress or injuries, tag the animal for tracking, and plan its relocation deep within protected reserves. This method reflects a quiet truth: urban conflict isn't solved by force, but by understanding. Locals are taught to secure trash bins, remove outdoor food, and avoid any confrontation. Education becomes as vital as the steel trap itself, because every capture is a lesson about coexistence, not conquest. Australia's ecosystems are facing existential threats from three invasive species: the European rabbit, the red fox, and the feral cat, whose successive ravages have already driven more than 28 mammal species to extinction and threaten hundreds more. Now, as biodiversity loss accelerates due to drought and bushfires, the government is implementing an evidence-based response plan that prioritises hunting, trapping and biological control, supported by $224 million, 0 cents, in community-led federal funding. The strategy aims to reduce populations to save the bilby and the quoll. Controlling the European rabbit is a top priority in dealing with the crisis. Introduced in 1859, the European rabbit is a key invasive species affecting over 300 threatened species by depleting vegetation, causing soil erosion, and providing abundant prey for predators. Control them first to reduce the fox and cat populations. Night hunting with thermal scopes combined with rabbit scan for real-time mapping to reduce populations. To stop the breeding cycle with different regional targets depending on the ecosystem. Indigenous and community-led population hunts in rural areas, especially in burnt areas where rabbits take advantage of vegetation regeneration. When researching this species, I first heard of biological control in addition to hunting. The K5 strain of rabbit hemorrhagic virus, RHDV, targeting resistant populations in wet areas, is deployed through baiting to counter adaptation. Mechanical methods include burrowing, fumigation, and blasting to prevent reintroduction, with Victorian pest management guidelines requiring these to be used in conjunction with 1080 poison streaks to be effective. Exclusion fencing creates rabbit-free sanctuaries, although the high cost limits its scale. Trials in South Australia have shown up to a 50% reduction in predator numbers as rabbit numbers decline. As rabbit numbers have declined through control, fox numbers have followed suit. Headlight hunting, incentivised by bounties in Victoria, knocked down hundreds of animals per operation, supported by Indigenous trackers to ensure accuracy.
No.
The National Feral Cat and Fox Management Program coordinates cross-border efforts, ensuring humane and effective knockdowning practices. Hunters on large-scale missions like this cannot afford to forget about safety gear. Wear gloves, coveralls, masks, and chemical-resistant goggles to handle the 1080 bait and Felixer trap safely. Pre-operation health checks and post-exposure monitoring help prevent the risk of toxic exposure. Inexperienced hunters should participate in supervised culling, complete firearms training, and use support systems to navigate remote terrain, ensuring safety while combating ecological threats.
Got him.
Australia's campaign to combat the invasive red fox uses innovative control methods, including soft jaw alternative traps designed to humanely capture and automatically target foxes in remote areas. .1080 poison baits, designed to minimise non-target impacts in Western Australia, are deployed strategically, with trials showing significant reductions in fox densities in arid regions when combined with rabbit control. Which species in Australia occupies 99% of the territory, knocking down 1 of 5 billion vertebrates each year, and has caused 28 mammal extinctions targeting important species such as the quoll. Hunting on the ground, at waterholes using acoustic baits and soft traps, ensuring humane capture, with Queensland considering bounties.
John, get. Edge of the field.
What?
The Feral Cat Task Force emphasises hunts near urban areas to prevent pet abandonment, combined with community efforts. Why does the order of invasive species matter so much, and what happens if we break that chain? Rabbits play a role in triggering the crisis that feeds fox and cat populations. Foxes compound the damage by turning to native prey when rabbit numbers decline, while cats, highly adaptable predators, put pressure on smaller species as the bottom of the food chain weakens. This is also the final straw, with an estimated economic loss of $186,240,000,000 0 cents between 1960 and 2020.
According to estimates, over 70% of tropical forest land in Florida has been destroyed in the past 100 years. Each acre of deforested land may cause the loss of habitat for 2 to 5 monkeys. With an average deforestation rate of 98.84 acres per year in Florida, approximately 80,000 to 200,000 monkeys lose their natural habitat annually. The strong invasion of monkeys in Florida is attributed to human destruction of their habitats. Each year, Florida residents clear a significant amount of trees and forests, leading to ecosystem imbalance. That leaves monkeys with no shelter and food, prompting them to invade residential areas. The primary reason for tree cutting is economic gain, without considering the negative consequences for ecosystems and wildlife. This behavior adversely impacts biodiversity and natural equilibrium. Reports indicate that the most deforested areas in Florida are primary forests and coastal regions, the main habitat of monkeys, leading to a significant decline in their population due to habitat loss. The second reason leading to a significant increase in the invasion of monkeys is the habit of feeding them among Florida residents. This practice has drawn monkeys into urban areas. People often feed monkeys because they find them cute and want to create an enjoyable experience. However, this action also poses serious problems. Feeding monkeys makes them increasingly accustomed to living near humans and fosters dependency. With the growing number of monkeys, controlling them becomes more challenging, leading to security and safety issues for the community. Additionally, feeding monkeys large quantities of fruit results in widespread littering, affecting the environment. After feeding, the leftovers are often left uncleared. This issue is not confined to small towns but extends across various areas of Florida. Each time wild monkeys appear and are fed, their numbers increase, creating a negative cycle. Typically, monkey troops seek food in Florida during the mornings or evenings when human activity in residential areas is highest. This provides monkeys with easier access to food. The breeding population of monkeys in the state of Florida has unexpectedly surged, leading to a significant increase in their numbers over the years. Breeding season mainly occurs in spring and summer, particularly from March to June, when weather conditions and habitat are most favorable. During each breeding cycle, a monkey can give birth to 1 to 3 offspring. Monkeys thrive and reproduce well during the rainy season when food is abundant. The population explosion has posed challenges for the Florida government in controlling them, especially in maintaining a balance between humans and wildlife. From the reasons behind the explosion of invasive monkey species, are you curious to learn about the characteristics of monkeys in Florida? The invasive monkeys were initially brought in by veterinarians and individuals wanting to keep them as pets. Initially, there weren't many, just a few kept in households. However, the numbers have exploded from a few initially to millions today. They are highly agile and flexible, with excellent climbing abilities on tree branches. Their distinctive feature is the thick fur covering their bodies and faces, making them appear cute and attracting the attention of many. Their limbs are flexible and robust, enabling easy movement. They weigh on average from 10 to 30 pounds, depending on the species and age. They often live and operate in packs. They often use climbing techniques to steal coconuts from trees in people's gardens. By jumping from one tree to another, they quickly access the coconuts and cause damage to agriculture. In particular, farmers' cornfields are also frequently destroyed by monkeys. They steal corn from the fields, causing serious losses. Every year, the damage caused by monkeys invading cornfields can amount to thousands of dollars. Furthermore, the sudden increase in the number of monkeys has led to a shortage of natural food sources, prompting them to seek food in residential areas. When they invade cities, they steal belongings from residents and tourists. This action not only affects the safety of the community but also reduces the number of tourists, resulting in significant losses. The damage from this can amount to millions of dollars each year, posing a serious concern for the local economy. Residents and tourists should limit feeding monkeys. This behavior makes them dependent on humans and encourages them to venture into urban areas. After eating, monkeys often discard leftover food into the environment, causing pollution and providing conditions for disease-causing bacteria. Close interaction between humans and monkeys also increases the risk of disease transmission.